Chapter 6. The crosses we bear. Complaining against. The Jews then complained about him because he said, "I am the bread which came down from heaven." John 6:41. Let us consider what happened. Jesus said something they did not agree with, and they began complaining. Has this ever happened to you? Those who are listening to you suddenly start murmuring and complaining, saying something like, "He's always talking about this Jesus. I'm getting sick of this. I don't even want to invite him over anymore. In fact, I am completely tired of hearing his incessant talk about being born again." Complaining. That is the first part. They complained at his teaching. Isn't it interesting, when Jesus knew his disciples complained, he said to them, "Does this offend you?" John 6:61. Keep in mind that at this time, it wasn't the Jewish leaders or the crowds of followers that had begun complaining against him, but his own disciples. This is one of the most painful types of rejection. It really hurts when someone that you have poured yourself into and tried to help begins grumbling and griping about what you've done for them. We know that Christ not only did the best he could, he did the best, period, and yet they still complained. I can think of several people that I have dug out of a ditch, poured my life into, and then they turned on me. It hurts. Paul had a similar thing happen to him when Demas left him at the very end of his life. He said, "Demas has forsaken me, having loved this present world." 2 Timothy 4:10. A few years earlier, Paul had called Demas his fellow laborer, Philemon, verse 24. But now he had forsaken him. So after Jesus had poured himself into his disciples day after day, they complained against him. He walked up to them and overheard their murmuring and griping. In contrast to immediate rejection, complaining is the beginning of a much slower rejection. Just keep sharing, and you too will experience complaining. But remember, it often doesn't end there either. Quarreling. The Jews therefore quarreled among themselves, saying, "How can this man give us his flesh to eat?" John 6:52. The complaining didn't end. It simply led to quarreling. They went from, "I don't like this teaching," to, "Hey, I'm starting to get mad about this." And then all of a sudden, the arguing begins. They may not even be fighting directly with you. They may be fighting with another person over what you have said. But the slow rejection is building. This slow rejection doesn't stop at arguing, griping. Therefore, many of his disciples, when they heard this, said, "This is a hard saying. Who can understand it?" John 6:60. If you are truly following Christ, people will sometimes feel that you push them too far. "You're overboard. You want me to do what? You want me to leave the woman I'm living with and move out because we're not married? Look, we've been together for 15 years, man." Hey, I'm sorry. Being with a woman outside of marriage is called fornication, and it is a sin. "You're ridiculous. You push me too far." Or, "You want me to stop doing what? Look, I've been doing this with my taxes since you were this high, kid. And you know what? I'm comfortable with it. It's not a sin to me." Well, it says in Romans, "Render taxes to those whom taxes are due." You push me too far. It may start with some of your relatives saying, I don't like this. And then pretty soon they are arguing about it. And the next thing is, fine, have your religion, but don't go overboard. Believe it or not, you are now walking in the way of the cross. As you watch the slow rejection building, you are moving into Christ's suffering. People rejected Christ when he pushed them too far, and they will reject you also. Guess what happens next? Where does the complaining, quarreling, and griping lead? Desertion and abandonment.
Thank you for listening to the audio version of His Final Words, a discipleship manual by Travis Hunt. This audiobook will continue in the following videos.